Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Unity Bay Area, Houston. Please let us know who you are, where you are. Let us know so we can hold you in our prayers and know that you are with us right here and right now. Christ in me is my comfort is our affirmation for today. If you go ahead and put your coffee down and rise off the couch, and let's begin this amazing service with God is my source.
3, 4. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. 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 And now is the time we usually walk around and hug one another. So go ahead and give us some likes and give us some loves. Let us know, let us see, give us some cares. You're here with us today. We love you. Good morning. You are appreciated.
Yes. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Woo! And we know that in unity, we start our realization of the divine by claiming and knowing the omnipotence of the universe and the goodness that is there behind all creation. And so let us affirm together this first principle of unity. There is one presence and one power in the universe and in me, God the good omnipotence. And we are truly grateful. We also know that prayer is the foundation of unity, the place where we began to hold the consciousness together, to call on the light and the truth of the Christ. And when we did that together, amazing things occurred and began this movement we call unity. So at Unity Bay Area, Houston, prayer is a foundation here. You can call our prayer line at 903-484-4841. Leave us a message and one of our prayer chaplains will call you back. Or you can write in a prayer request at that's prayatubah@gmail.com and leave a prayer request. And again, our prayer chaplains will be praying with you. And we are blessed by a wonderful group of prayer chaplains that hold the consciousness and the foundation of this ministry based upon truth principles and the alignment and communion with Spirit. And we are so grateful for that, indeed. And at this time, I'm going to invite us to do that very thing. Come to the place where we find our own foundation in truth by turning within in prayer. And taking a breath together. And let it go. As we open ourselves to this one presence and one power, we open to the awareness of that divine light of truth, the presence and power of that love energy, the unifying field of consciousness. And with each breath, we let go and let God be God in us. We open ourselves to that awareness of the movement and activity of Spirit in our being and in our lives. And as we experience and remember the truth of our union and communion with Spirit, we also feel the power of that moving through every moment of creation. That one essence is right here, right now, everywhere present. Everywhere, bringing awareness of the truth that has always been. We let go of the facades of belief, of our outer eyes choosing what is real and coming to our real eyes, to our 2020 vision, which is an internal vision of light. And we say thank you. Thank you for this vision, for this light, for this awareness within us. Thank you, beloved Spirit, for helping us to see with clarity and truth. Feel your freedom now, the freedom of an inner awareness. And we bless this time of freedom and acknowledgement and celebration of the freedom within our country. But more importantly, we bless and acknowledge the freedom that we carry in our soul. And we say thank you. Thank you for your blessing, your divine light that is the truth of our own being, that we are this oneness, we are this light, we are this freedom and truth. And we are grateful, grateful, grateful as we feel your presence and open this portal of awareness, of light, of releasing all limitation. And we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. And yes. And at this time, I want to share some of the many things happening through our Unity community. We know it may not look the same as a lot of it is happening on our online, etc., but we also know that we're reaching out and touching in and experiencing the presence of one another and the presence of the divine together, and that is a sacred gift. And so this week at Unity Bay Area Houston, you can still join, as of this week, our Metaphysics 2 class. This will be the last night to join in. It's on Wednesdays, July 8th. It's a Zoom at 7 p.m. If you would like to receive that Zoom link, please email me directly at itskyra, it's Kyra, at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to provide the link to you. We're having some very powerful discussions on this. This is a place where you're going to learn to compare and contrast your current view of God with our unity understanding. Differentiate between who you are and what you are, as well as learn about Jesus Christ, the Christ, Jesus Christ, Christ Jesus. All right, and anything else you want to know about that whole concept. It's an opportunity to explore and learn together at a deep awareness of how to make sense of the principles that we teach. So we're grateful to have you join us if you'd like to do that. We'll be looking at the threefold nature, our threefold nature as well this week. Now, Tuesday's Paul Selig book study. We have started into a new book as of last week. We are in the book of Beyond the Known Realization, and it is a very powerful group of all of the materials that are coming through Paul and the Melchizedeks, and it's a very powerful study group where we look at spiritual principles deeply and open to how to live those into our own lives very powerfully. So we invite you to join us, and again, you can email me, itskyra@gmail.com for the link to our Paul Selig study group. Connect with your Unity sisters. Wendy Hoggett is hosting this month's Unity Ladies Zoom group, and that's going to happen on Monday, July 6th, that's tomorrow, at 5:30 p.m. Please email Wendy at B as in boy, A as in apple, H as in home, youth, YOUTH, @gmail.com. That's UBAH youth @gmail.com, and we'd love to have you join us on our Unity Ladies Night. This afternoon at 5:30 p.m., Faith Rivera, a dear friend of mine, an amazing musician. You've heard a lot of her music here. This team has done it so beautifully. Will be hosting an Aloha Fest from Hawaii. And it's an online event where they're really doing all the things a luau would do. So they're going to have the whole music, fire ceremony, fire dancers, and lots of love and celebration. So anybody looking for another way to celebrate is join her. You can go to the bulletin that came out, or look up Faith Rivera on Facebook. There's a link. She's asking for a donation for this whole event for them to put it on. I think it's $20 suggested, and it is, but it's going to be amazing. All the things, you're going to be like you're at a real Hawaiian luau. So wear your Hawaiian shirt, get out your leis, and have a great time with Faith Rivera and others across the country. So we're looking forward to that. Now, please join me in affirming our vision, our mission, and our core values together. Our vision is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of a shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is to inspire minds, awaken hearts, and empower lives through the teachings of Jesus Christ and other expressions of universal truth. In all that we are and all that we live, we value unconditional love, connection, authenticity, inclusivity, trust, and compassion. And before we move on from that one, can you go back to that one, Ronnie? I just want to say this is so powerful in these times when there's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of challenge. There's a lot of diversity of opinion that we need to turn to our values more than ever to say, am I living and am I expressing, am I experiencing in this moment unconditional love? Am I creating connection? Am I keeping myself connected to my divine? Am I creating connection with others? Am I being authentic and living from a higher authenticity? Am I being inclusive? And am I living with a trust in the divine and a compassion for all that we're all experiencing? I think it's really vital right now that we find the place where we align with value and live from that. So I just feel it's especially powerful to acknowledge at this moment. So together, we are living relevant spirituality now. Yes, we are. Thank you.
All right, please join us as we sing I Am a Light by Robert Anderson.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Go ahead and rise. I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
In this world, in this world.
In this world.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
In this world.
This world.
In this world.
In this world.
I am a light.
I am a light.
This is the time.
This is the time.
Let it shine. Let it shine.
Let it shine.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
In this world. In this world.
In this world.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
In this world. In this world.
In this world.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
This is the place.
This is the place.
Let it shine. Let it shine.
Let it shine.
I'm living love every day.
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 Spreading peace along the way.
Spreading peace along the way.
I'm living love every day.
I'm living love every day.
Right time, right place.
Right place.
I'm living love every day.
Living love every day.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
I am a light.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
Right now.
Gonna let it shine. Gonna let it shine.
We say thank you to our music team, Ellen Rogers and Patty Rabaza and Keith Vivens. We're so grateful for you. And And we want to acknowledge and thank our audio video team and all of those that are doing everything from live stream to PowerPoint to sound. We are grateful. We couldn't be out in the world without you. And we are so grateful for each and every one. And we want to welcome those of you that are here with us for the first time, wherever you may be. Let us know on our Facebook live stream or our YouTube. Even if it's at a later time you're watching this, let us know you joined us. And let us know where you're from. And let us help you to know how loved, how appreciated, how welcome you are, and how we know and experience the truth of who you are and what you are. So we want to welcome you all. Give yourself a big hug. We have to find new ways to do this, right? We hug ourselves. And we wish to say together, to affirm together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Yes, we do. And Sarah Thompson is going to share our daily word with us today.
Good morning. Our word today is comfort. Our affirmation, Christ in me is my comfort. Experiences that move me out of my comfort zone are part of my life. The first day at a new school, starting or leaving a job, a new phase in a relationship, retiring from a career, the passing of a loved one. Any change can evoke discomfort, even grief. I grieve when I think of changes as loss. Loss of security, loss of my place in my community, or loss of love. The Christ, the divine presence of life, love, and wisdom within me, is my constant source of comfort through all of life's challenges. I find assurance that although its physical expressions may change, life can never end. I know oneness and love with all who have been dear to me. Recognizing my divine nature, I know that there is no loss, change, or circumstance that can limit me, and I am comforted. And from Psalm 71, verse 21. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. Now, please join me in our community affirmation. We are grateful for our healthy, conscious, spiritual community, caring for one another and the world through shared leadership and love. Namaste.
And then prosper we must when our cause it is just, and this be our word, in our God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner on triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Ellen, for that verse of the Star-Spangled Banner as we move into this time of meditation and we open ourselves to the realization of freedom and the freedom of our country we celebrated yesterday, and as we open to a deeper freedom within our own being of what that means and how we live into that. I invite you to find that place where you acknowledge the freedom to turn within to your divine source. Whatever way that you do that, or any knowing that you have of your divine awareness, of your connection to the infinite, to recognize that as we quiet the outer experience, we begin to settle into our own body temple. We stay present fully, and yet Our present is filled with a presence that is beyond this realm and is this realm. It is that which enlivens our very being, the Spirit of life, the Spirit of truth, an experience of our oneness with all of creation, with every creature of the waters of the earth and every being of the sky and all of our beloved Mother Earth and everything that walks or crawls or slithers upon her. Every aspect of creation. We are one in that awareness right now with our plant and animal kingdoms and all of the elements of fire and water and air and earth. We unify with all of our ancestors and all of the beings of light. For we are one with all of creation. And from this remembrance, we acknowledge the gift we've been given of free will. And we choose our will to quiet our outer experience, to turn within, to know that we cannot ever be separate from our source. We are the source and expression, as is all of creation. In this sacred remembrance of our inner freedom, we let go the tension behind our eyes, the stressors of our mind, our thoughts that are fearful or doubting, or feeling separate, any feelings or thoughts that feel like we're not enough, or there's not enough, or that it should be different. We let go right now. Taking a breath. And let it go. We allow God, we allow love to have its way in us right now, to harmonize our thoughts and feelings, to gentle us into this now moment where we feel the power of this one presence of light, of love. We relax deeply into the silence. We feel the ever-renewing power of this inner light as it shines through every particle of our being and vibrates us into a higher frequency, a renewed awareness of our oneness, an experience of that union and communion with the divine. We relax more deeply in our knowing that this divine freedom is sounding its clarion call through us. And all of the earth and all of humanity and all of creation harmonizes in the realization of our oneness, our light, our freedom to shine. And in this and all things, we give thanks. We are so grateful to know this truth and be set free from worry and doubt, fear and struggle. We allow ourselves to reside in this inner freedom. We bring our awareness to the ways that we vibrate out with every thought, with every word, with every feeling, with every experience in our world. We become a presence for that one inner source to express its truth. And together we share these words of our Lord's Prayer from an Aramaic translation. Beloved oneness, breathing life of all, holy is our essence. Create your reign of unity now. Your one desire acts with ours and vibrates light to form. Fulfill this day all need for bread and insight. Forgiveness releases us, and we remember wholeness. We are free from inner and outer deception and walk your path with joy. You are the power of these truths and unite my words, thoughts, feelings, and actions through this prayer. In gratitude, my heart knows it is so. Amen. And yes.
Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self our country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
That was beautiful. Thank you. And we are reminded that we live in a very beautiful country. a place of exquisite beauty all around us, and with the freedoms that we have that we often take for granted, that it is a time as we come through 4th of July to really acknowledge those freedoms, those liberties that we have that we may take for granted. And I know some say, well, we're not as free as we think, but actually we are as free as we think. Isn't that the truth? And so let us give thanks for those freedoms. And today we're going to talk about true freedom. So we celebrate this freedom of our land and the freedom of our country and the freedom of our having our rights, and we honor and acknowledge that. But there's another level of freedom that we hunger for, that we don't always feel that we have access to. And it is so important for us to start to understand, how do I find that true freedom, which to me is an inner freedom. It is a place internally where no matter what occurs out in the outer experience, I am free. I am free in what I choose to think, in what I choose to feel, and how I choose to show up in the world. I am free to be who I know myself to be. Now the question is, do we know who we truly are as a spirit of light, of a spirit of truth, of a being that is really aligned with a higher presence? We ask for that divine mercy, but the truth is, we don't give that mercy to ourselves. How many of you are really hard on yourselves out there? I hear it over and over again. We battle ourselves for our freedom. And the truth is that our freedom comes from our acknowledging we are already free. We are always and forever and eternally already free. Freedom is the nature of our inner spirit. So when we speak to the idea of true freedom is an internal experience within us that cannot falter, cannot be challenged, cannot be taken away from us by anyone or anything. There have been many in history who have taught us this with their experiences of whether they've been in concentration camps or tortured or imprisoned, and yet they found the inner freedom to bring forth a higher light and truth. Whether it's our way shower who was crucified and resurrected because he's showing the truth that he was free. Right? Are we really understanding the fact that we are eternally free, and that freedom is something we come to within our own being? And when we experience that, it's not about what happens out here, whether something happens to my physical body or something happens to me that I, get myself into bondage in some way. It's about what happens inside of me in the midst of that. Now, the thing that's really great about true freedom is a place in us where we soar in an inner realization of the divine, in an inner realization that this isn't about me, where we actually have surrendered ourselves. Now, we think we should fight for freedom, and we thank those that have on our behalf. We acknowledge and thank everyone that has, but the true nature of freedom is not something you can fight for, because the minute you put up a fight, you're not in the realization that you're already free. If I'm in the realization of the oneness of my being, then there is nothing to fight. There's only surrendering my doubts and fears that I could be in bondage in any way. Now, the challenge of this, we often think of freedom as something that is granted to us outside of ourselves. So that's why we think we could be in bondage. But freedom is what we grant. It's already been granted to us. But our granting ourselves the wisdom and the willingness to go within and realize it is a different kind of experience of freedom. then it's an internal, it's individualized in me, but it's a collective consciousness. Every single one of us already has this freedom because it is the nature of our being to be free, we're made in the image and likeness of God. And so when we begin to understand and start to live from that, then we will bring freedom into the world because we begin to operate from a different way of thinking. How do you feel? What happens inside of you, even physically, when you're in a fight? When you feel like you need to fight for your freedom? Don't you find you get tension in your body? Your body then begins to put off different kind of chemicals inside because we're fighting for something, even if it's for something. We're in a fight versus a realization of the truth that we are free. Then we go about acting in a different way, thinking in a different way. If I experience myself as free, then I think differently. I don't think I need to defend myself. Okay, everybody breathe. You know, I don't think that if I'm free, so are you. I don't think you need to think like me that I do. I don't think you need to think like me. You are free to be you, and I am free to be me. And there's no defense or fight against or needing it to be different than it is in the moment of the realization of freedom. We are just totally free, and there's nothing that needs to occur for it to be different. We fight ourselves, our own thoughts, our own beliefs, the places we have put ourselves in bondage. Oh, I need to be better in this way. Oh, I didn't do that well enough. Oh, I'm not happy with how I showed up. I have myself in bondage to some prescribed idea of how I'm supposed to be good enough, to show up in a way that's truly free. What if all I need to really be is just be myself in each moment? I didn't think I did that as perfectly as I'd like. Well, do it different the next time. You know, but we go into this bondage and punish and fight against who we were being in that moment. Oh, I have a thought that I didn't like that thought very well. You know, I fight against it rather than going, oh, okay, it's a thought, but I don't need to make it mean anything. I just allow it to be. That is freedom. I allow myself to be everything that I am. If you think that you're alone in the world in having different ideas or having times that you're not all so lovey-dovey, all right? Anybody here have times you're not so lovey-dovey? Have you noticed any irritation out in the world right now? Oh my. Have you noticed irritation inside yourself recently? Have you noticed moments of grief? Have you noticed moments of anger? Have you noticed, now you've also noticed moments of love. Noticed of moments of pure connection to source or to one another. To a joy. See, all of that exists within us. Our true freedom is realizing we have all of that. I don't have to allow it to run me, but I don't have to fight against it. The minute I acknowledge it, it relaxes. I relax. All of me becomes open to the fact that, oh, I'm irritable right now. Maybe I'm going to choose to not be with people at the moment. Maybe I'm going to choose to, watch the squirrels, whatever, and they get irritated with each other too, I notice. So when we can experience the freedom to allow all that is within us, then the other part of this equation, so that's one part of the equation, we surrender into our true being, right? That we are divine no matter what we're experiencing. It doesn't take away our divinity. It doesn't take away the fact that we're this, and we have all these different experiences and expressions, all right? Now, it doesn't mean I go act out on them. But the second part of this, beyond our then allowing ourselves to be who we truly are, is that we find that place where we commune with Spirit. That we have within us the knowing that there is something greater that is moving through us. In John 8, well, So I go to that one first. I think I go to this one first. I'm going to go to, no, I'm doing John 8. Okay. John 8, 31 to 38, it goes on. They're really, at this time, John is the Bible. The context of John is that it's really the place where the mystical is revealed, where they're taking the understanding of the Christ. We love this in Unity because in the Unity teachings, we understand the Christ consciousness is available to everyone everywhere. It is the essence that is here with us. It's the way that we commune. It's the I am understanding. And so what is revealed are the mystical understandings of how we live from that awareness of our oneness with all that exists. And if we really want to experience true freedom, then we're looking at this as well. And Jesus was speaking to the Jews. Now, the Jews at this time represented, they believed there were prescribed ways of who and what, and he was opening to the fact that we all have this available to us. But he was also teaching them about what it meant to be a true disciple. Now, a disciple is a student, one who actually lives into the teachings and brings them forth as a way of life. In Unity, we're taught that we are teaching a way of life, not just a concept or an idea, but how is the way of life of living according to Christ consciousness bringing us to our true freedom, to our ability to live at a higher frequency, a higher level of love and union with others. And so he tells them, if you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. They answered him, and we are descendants of Abraham and have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean by saying you'll be made free? And Jesus said, very truly I tell you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not have a permanent place in the household. The Son has a place there forever. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are descendants of Abraham, yet you look for an opportunity to kill me, because there's no place in you for my word. I declare what I have seen in the Father's presence. As for you, you should do what you have heard from the Father. Now, we talk about in Unity, we don't talk a lot about sin. You know, we're not out putting that judgment on one another. But what is sin? Sin for us is where we miss the mark, where we have an error consciousness, a belief that is not true to the higher truth and realization of who and what we are. So our sin is that we don't believe that we are this Christ presence, that we doubt ourselves, that we struggle against that freedom that already exists within us. And that's why when you know the truth, then the truth will set you free, because the truth is that I already am free, right? And the truth is that I am a Christ consciousness. And so when I understand that I get there through the Son, which is, as we understand it, is the Christ consciousness, then that's the place that I find my inner freedom. By opening to say, not me, but thee. You know, it's not me that has the ability to know my true freedom, not the me of the small self, of the ego base, not through just my mind alone, but by the truth of the divine spirit that is alive in me. When I turn to that truth, when I invite that realization, that aha from a level of awareness, from the Christ consciousness in me, then I experience things very differently. I experience myself differently. I don't condemn myself. That Christ consciousness in us is not sitting and shaking us and going, oh, you should have done better, you know. It's saying, let's see the truth of who we are. Let's know that you are a Christ being, that you are the light, that you're here to bring your light, your presence, and all of the different experiences are part of that experience. Because when we choose, we get to see all of it, acknowledge it, and then again choose how we're going to show up. That's our freedom. Our freedom is choice. Freedom is that we choose to know we are free. We choose to act from that place of freedom. We choose to know that we are this Christ being. And suddenly, I show up differently in the world. If I don't know that truth, then I'm looking for somebody else to remind me. I'm looking for somebody to validate me, to make it okay for me to be who I am. Well, I need you to tell me that. I need you to give me that feedback. But when I am in the truth of my Christ, in the freedom of choosing to know myself as a Christ expression, I don't need others' validation. I'm at home in myself. I'm at home with the oneness. I've been challenged a lot of my life, and I've shared this before about being so dang joyful. What is wrong with that girl? How could she be joyful in the midst of this, right? On the other hand, there are many that will validate, oh my gosh, thank you, because I needed that, because I couldn't get there myself, right? That happens to be my nature. It happens to be my expression of the Christ consciousness. I'm here to hold and be at that presence of joy and light. And each of us have a way that we are here to express that Christ nature in us. Some, it's a quiet way. It's through going into the silence and holding the space for one another in prayer. And for others, it's by, walking through the world, just not caring about anything and everyone and just, being in their own flow, right? For others, they're taking a stance for something. So don't condemn any of those ways, but give yourself the freedom to be who and what you are. How is the Christ consciousness that is the core of your essence expressing through you? Well, in this moment, it's expressing this way. In another moment, it's expressing another way. But to know that you're turning it over, you're surrendering it to the Christ consciousness, to the divine. There's another scripture I want to reference here that is in 2 Corinthians 3, verse 16. This is one of my all-time favorites in the Bible. And because it represents that truth of our inner light and our inner spirit and the freedom that we possess. And so what it says is when one turns to the Lord, the veil is removed. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And all of us, with unveiled faces, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. For this comes from the Lord, the Spirit. See, to me, this is one of the most profound verses where we understand that what we're here to do is to claim and know and realize our freedom. And when we know that, when we realize our true freedom and our ability to be in the Spirit, to experience and invite the Spirit to inform us, it will reflect everything back to us as the true Spirit of the Christ. Everything is mirroring back to us the possibility of our freedom, the possibility of the Christ consciousness that is available to us. So what does that mean? And to say, oh, and it becomes glorious. So when I see somebody angry, I can say, oh, isn't that the glory of the Christ right there? Instead of needing to battle it, needing it to be different than it is. It's the way they're expressing the Christ in that moment. They may not even know they're the Christ, but I have the ability in my freedom to know that truth. And I am free from being hooked into anyone else's way of being as meaning something about me. When I see the Spirit of light, the Spirit of the Lord, however you want to describe that, the awareness of the truth of my being, then all of a sudden it is mirrored to me. Now, sometimes that doesn't look like what I think. Well, maybe I do have some inner irritation. Maybe I do have a way that I think is the best way. Maybe I do have a defensiveness, and it's being mirrored to me so that I can see it in that moment and let it go. And love what is there. Love what is in me, not be in bondage to how I think I should show up or how I think someone else should show up. I'm still going to love them as the Christ, and in the freedom to love them as the Christ, no matter how they're showing up, no matter how I'm showing up, I have true freedom in the world, not just in my inner freedom, but I begin to walk through the world differently. I think through the world differently. I feel through the world differently because I'm feeling the truth of the Christ Spirit, of the Christ within. And there is such profound freedom. And to know that therefore I don't have to respond to anything that has triggered me. I can notice, oh, there's a trigger there. What's that about? And all of a sudden, I don't have to have resistance to it or energy on it. I just notice it. That is freedom. When I can notice what's going on inside of me and not instead be reactive out in the world. Whew, that is freedom. How many of you would like to be less reactive? Everyone? Yeah. And especially during these times. You know, we have a lot of heightened energy as we are in a transformation. We are raising the frequency of our light in the world. And as a result, it's bringing to light anything where we have resistance, where we have defensiveness, where we have struggle, where we've not been willing to look at what's there. So what's being brought to light is for us to look and say, oh, how do I bring freedom and inclusivity and awareness and Christ's light into this, into this, into this? And it's a moment by moment offering at this time. But you may notice you're having your own inner journeys are really escalated right now. Somebody said to me, oh, we're being silenced with these masks. And I said, no. Well, yeah, we are. We're being asked to go within. We're being silenced in a way that is inviting us to go within. We're not actually being silenced, but we're being covered. Right? These are veils that are going to be removed as we see the glory. Yet in the meantime, there is signal for us to go within, to find our inner freedom, to find our true voice, not the voice of the world, but the voice of the Spirit of the Lord that is within us, the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of life, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of joy, the Spirit of peace, the Spirit of harmony. What is the true Spirit that wants its voice within you to come forth in a way that helps you know that you are celebrating freedom within your own being every moment with every choice? You don't have to get to freedom, you're just celebrating it. You know, that's a very different place of being. And what I want for each one of us, my desire for us, and I also honor and accept we are where we are, but my desire for us to feel that freedom within ourselves, because then I don't need you to prove to me that I'm free. I don't need you to be pushing against so I can be defensive. I don't need parts of me that I've denied were there or I wasn't willing to look at. You know, I had a huge release this last week. There's been some major releases in my life over the last few months as we've been in this process, because I've done a lot of deep inner work. You know, I figure this is a time that we go within, you know, is that we've got quiet, we're moving away from all of our outer activity. And I have had huge releases of things that I swear I've carried in my soul for eternity and didn't realize how they were running me, the tendrils of a belief that maybe was running me from generation to generation. It's run our whole lineage. It's run our world. I was released martyrdom this week, and I didn't realize I was playing out martyrdom, right? And yet at some level there were thoughts that would be there that would have me feel stuck or feel, you know, like, oh, I have to. Any have tos is martyrdom, right? Instead of, oh, I am free and I choose, and this is what I choose, and this is the joy of my life, and all of a sudden there was a release at so many levels as I realized so many thoughts were tied into, I didn't even realize how they'd gotten woven together with some kind of martyr belief. Oh, it's up to me, I have to save the world, right? I have to be the responsible one for everybody. Oh, geez, there's no freedom in that. There's no freedom in knowing the truth about you in that. okay? So when I look at those things, and you know, it's not something that was blatant out there, oh, let me be a martyr for you, but there are subtle ways that it shows up in our lives and in the ways we interact when we have these beliefs. So as we let go and allow ourselves to have the freedom of the Christ consciousness in us, it will reveal things. You know, I could have used that then to bully myself, right? Oh, you shouldn't have done that, da, da, da. Or I can say, oh, thank you. Oh, I have a new level of freedom. And that's really what happened for me in the midst of this. But I know each one of us have places where we've bought into some false idea, and then we've let that veil be what has communicated with the world and not kept our divine in alignment. It's not like we've not allowed the divine to come out fully because we were operating through a veil. We were giving it a filter. And the truth is, when that filter is removed, there is only this Christ consciousness. There is only this divine light that is in every part of creation and every being here. And realizing that is pure freedom. And it is pure joy for me, because it is that celebration of each and every one of us, wherever we may be, in knowing that we are Christ beings. I still actually may choose healthy boundaries. This doesn't mean I don't have my own healthy boundaries, right? So let's get clear about that. In fact, I may be clearer about them because I'm not under some martyrdom that I need to not have those boundaries or question them. So what happens is instead there's a different way of showing up as a result. And each one of us have places where we're facing those trigger points within us, those veils, to set ourselves free from those, so we can really be unveiled as Christ to Christ to Christ to Christ in every moment. And that, to me, is the greatest joy of who and what we are and how we're moving forward in freedom, inner freedom in this world. And as each one of us claim it, we give permission to one another. When I claim my freedom from that, when I claim myself in joy, I give others permission to be in joy. What a great gift. And I know that it's who and what I'm meant to be. And may you know the truth of the freedom of who and what you are and how you get to show up in this world. I'm grateful for each one of you and for sharing this sacred journey of freedom. God bless you, friends. Have a great week. Yay! Freedom! All right, and now it's time where we want to say thank you for the gifts that we receive and for each one of you that have been contributing, that allow us to continue this ministry, to sustain our beautiful space and our staff and all of the support. You have made it possible for us to be a presence in this world here at Unity Bay Area, Houston, and we say thank you for that. You can continue to give as you have done with generosity, and we are grateful for through mail, snail mail. You can mail a check to Unity Bay Area, Houston at 1911 Highway 3 South, League City, Texas, 77573. Or you can check into our weekly newsletter or our Sunday morning, I think it's our weekly newsletter. There's a link down there under the Abundance Report that'll take you right to the website. Or you can go directly to the website, and unitybayareahouston.org. You'll get to our website. There's a donate button. And we are grateful that, and those that text to give, you can just text GIVE to 281-595-1648. So we have lots of ways to give you that opportunity, and we want to most of all bless our giving, all the ways that we give, and bless our abundance and the flow of the universe and the freedom that we have to experience and express that abundance in ways that serve all of creation. So together, let's take our gifts or our ideas of our gifts into our hands, into our heart. Together we say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
1, 2, 3. us resound loud as the rolling sea.
Sing a song for the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of hope that the present has brought us.
Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
We love Keith Vivens. Sing a song for the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of hope that the present has brought us.
Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
I can't even play air guitar even near that good. So thank you, Keith and Ellen and Patty. That was awesome. So let us affirm together. We are grateful for an abundance of resources flowing through our ministry to meet every need and to invest in the highest good for our spiritual community. And we're going to say our gratitude together. Thank you, God, for our spiritual community. We rejoice as all our prayers are answered. We celebrate divine abundance as we give and receive in generosity and love. Unity Bay Area Houston is grateful for all our blessings, and we are prosperous. Yes, we are. The Unity teens will be meeting on Wednesday at 4 p.m. again. If you want to get involved in that, or your teens do, have them contact Wendy Hoggett at ubah@gmail.com, and they'll be on 4 p.m. on Wednesdays. And so let's send a blessing out to all of the teens, all of the children, all of the Unity messengers of light out in the world, which is actually everyone. Together, unity everywhere. We love you just the way you are in all your magnificence. Yes, we do. Let us sing it on out. 1, 2, 3.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm on the eve of God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith as
together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Happy Freedom Celebration, 4th and 5th, all of every day. God bless you. Thank you for joining us.